First, there was sound, not light. Sound. How do I know this? Well, welcome to Calm in the Chaos Interfaith Center, where we want to continue learning about creation, about the planet that we're planted on, and about one another. How do I know sound preceded light? Well, honestly, I don't know, but I do read scientific studies, and I do trust that people who are trained in these things know vastly more than I do. And scientists say that sound was there first. Sound is created when something vibrates. It could be the sound that human ears cannot hear because it's vibrating so rapidly at such a high frequency, or it could be a sound of a magnitude that hurts our ears, but something must be vibrating to create sound. Somewhere there were protons and neutrons vibrating together, which scientists call the primordial hum. Here's a thought that will keep you awake at night. Why doesn't the creation story on the first page of the Bible tell us when God created sound? The whole story is of things that are tangible, things that we can see: light, darkness, land, water, birds, animals, creatures, plants, trees, humans, but no sound. Let's visit that Bible quote, Genesis 1, the first two verses. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning of the first day. No mention of sound. So I am left to believe that sound was already humming, and the writer of Genesis referred to it as the Spirit of God. Let's look at that again. The earth was formless and empty, darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Can you picture this? The humming sound over the ocean causing waves and ripples. Sound was already there. And it was intensified and diversified once the animals, birds, and humans were formed, because then we had chirps and howls, screams, laughter, wings flapping, dolphins splashing, people grunting and arguing, leaves rustling. More sound. This week, I was reminded of how sound is taken for granted in many of our lives. I reconnected with my friend who was my ASL sign language teacher. She and I are friends now, and we converse online or in person now and then, going to a restaurant or a store or just hanging out. I am nowhere nearly fluent, and she's a teacher, so her patience is very much appreciated. I teach a class called Sing and Sign for Tiny Humans, teaching sign language vocabulary through children's songs. And I asked my friend to check that I was doing a certain song correctly. I asked her to watch me as I signed Old MacDonald and then to give me feedback. She looked at me and signed, "Who? Old?" And I signed the famous children's song, and she signed, "Don't understand." It took my egocentric hearing self a beat to realize she doesn't know songs. Not one. She has never sung a note. She has never heard Yo-Yo Ma's cello or Renee Fleming's voice or Cynthia Erivo's Elphaba or a TV show theme song. Ever. Let that sink in. Since my primary career has been and continues to be in sound, including the dog that's grumbling in the background, it humbles me to think that thought of never having heard music, never experienced any of it. But she has experienced vibrations, and some of our ears recognize that as sound. See, the story of Beethoven cutting the legs off his piano so the vibrations would carry onto the floorboards with him lying on his belly to feel it always amazes me. My college vocal coach's deaf son, standing with his arms spread atop his dad's piano, is a beautiful memory. My trip to Rochester, New York's deaf school taught me a lot about vibrations and how they are perceived and processed by our brains. And here we are talking of vibrations on a God Talk. Why? Because every one of us, every creature of the universe, all of us who were in Eden or on the ark, all the ones that are still being discovered at the bottom of the deepest parts of the oceans, every one of us is vibrating constantly. And we are emitting those vibrations into the atmosphere, into the universe, into whatever you want to call it, and into one another. We are all contributing to the balance, the new design, the vibrational frequencies of the planet and beyond. The butterfly effect is all about vibrations. The idea is linked to a mathematician named Edward Lorenz who used the butterfly effect in chaos theory to explain how a very small change under the right circumstances can create an outcome of immense proportions. The butterfly effect comes from a quote by Catherine McKenzie. Here's what it says: the way that if a butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazonian rainforest, it can change the weather half a world away. That's the butterfly effect. Our own vibrations can most certainly affect those around us. But what we don't see, just like the writer of Genesis couldn't see, is that vibrations of others are also emitting energy into the environment, into my environment, into yours. So we need to hang around people who support us, who are like minded, who are aware of the world's workings and are awake to the new unfoldings each day. People who are not afraid, but are armed with a grounding in their own spiritual world. Now, whether that's following Jesus or Edgar Cayce or Buddha, or simply surrounded by photos and stories of heroes and inspirational people, whatever works for them, a solid grounding that they can count on when they're in a holding cell or a detention center or simply tossing around in bed at night. Surround yourself with those people because they are vibrating at a level of strength and their frequencies, their energy meshes with our own. Try to avoid toxic people. They're the ones giving off vibes of anger, hostility, hatred. And instead, spend the energy that you have on building the world the way you want it. Try to not wallow in complaints and worries. Instead, put energy into higher vibrations of joy, of helpfulness, of being a good listener, of laughing. We must be the ones who stop giving our energy to the awful way things are and instead use our energy to build what is right and good. We can create an invisible force shield, like I always picture mine like an inch thick acrylic cylinder that can slide down over me when I'm in the midst of negativity. It protects me. The low frequencies of the other people cannot pass through it, but I can emit my own high frequencies outward. Love, kindness, compassion, beauty, those all emit very high frequencies. You know this in your soul. You know it innately because you feel better when you are in that state of mind and heart. And use your voice, the sound that is made by nearly all humans, because staying quiet right now reminds me of the quote whose originally was attributed to Edmund Burke, but now that is uncertain. And the message is so strong. Here's the quote: "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." We have been silent too long. The people who want to destroy our country's strength are loud and have been loud. We must speak up. We must use our personal sounding mechanism of voice to let them know we're not accepting the goings on by silently hiding with our heads down. Sound. The earth is humming. The world is alive with sounds, and we must join the chorus of vocal activists. For as Maya Angelou wrote, when you do nothing, you feel overwhelmed and powerless. But when you get involved, you feel the sense of hope and accomplishment that comes from knowing you are working to make things better. God bless us all. For a short meditation today, I offer a poem by Madeleine L'Engle. It's called Inspiration. The sky is strung with glory, light threads from star to star, from sun to sun, a living harp. I rejoice, I sing, I leap upwards to play. The music is in light. My fingers pluck the vibrant strings, the notes pulse, throb in exultant harmony. I beat my wings against the strands that reach across the galaxies. I play. No, it is not I who play. It is the music. The music plays itself, is played and plays me. Small part of an innumerable, innumberable orchestra. I am flung from note to note, impaled on melody. My wings are caught on throbbing filaments of light. The wild chords cut my pinions. My arms are outstretched, are bound by ropes of counterpoint. I am cross-eagled on the singing that is strung from pulsing star to flaming sun. I burn in a blaze of song.